Hey guys, it's your boy Forcing Fluffies here. I am bringing you my post-adjusted Banlist hero deck profile. I know I'm very late to the party, but better late than never, I say. So I'm just going to get right into it. Starting off, of course, the obligatory triple Shadow Mist. You pretty much an obligatory 3 of in any build of heroes because it searches your mass change and it searches your heroes. 2 copies of Blazeman because he searches out your polys. He also combos off very well with Shadow Mist, getting it into the graveyard to get your engine going. So yeah, you dump your Shadow Mist, and then if you have your Call the Haunted, you can get it back, get your mass change, and then just keep plussing off from there. 2 copies of Bubble Man for your XC plays. I don't like to run 3 because 3 typically clogs, but you still do need to run multiple Bubble Man just because, since apparently Ab-Zero is very good this format because of Mermail. But yeah, seeing with him is also very crucial as well. And for the final hero, we are playing 1 Neos Alias. I begrudgingly had to cut him to 1 just to make room for other stuff, but you'll see why when you see the rest of this main deck. But I hate that I have to drop him to 1, though. I really do. I really want to put him back to 2, so I have those extra search targets for Shadow Mist. Because, 5 search targets off of these 3 Shadow Mists and 3 E-Call and a Rhoda, you run out of targets, and I don't like that. Which is something that never happened when I had that extra alias. At least it felt that way. But still, yeah, that's neither here nor there. And for the last monsters, we got the 2 Summoner Monk and the Goblinberg. Yeah, so much sparser this time. It's definitely, it feels very different with just 1 Neos Alias, I'll say that much. There's a big difference. But yeah, still 2 Blazeman. Really, I would never run Blazeman as a run if he is an obligatory 2 of. Okay, yeah, but on to the spells. Starting off, we are running 3 copies of A Hero Lives. I finally made room for this in the deck. It makes Dark Law so much more consistent, but I just hate the fact that you have to pay Half-Life turn 1, but really, it's a really good card. Now that I've actually tried it and tested it, yeah, it's just that I still don't like it, that its big downside. And then triple emergency call to help get you to your combo pieces quicker. Triple mass change, hyped as fuck that this is getting reprinted as a gold rare, by the way. Hype is real, boys. And next up, 2 copies of mass charge. 1 form change, 1 miracle fusion, 1 poly to search out Blazeman, the 1 Rhoda, and Raigeki, and that wraps up these spells. The spell lineup changed up a lot because I dropped the fusion recoveries and a poly and a form change for the 2nd mass charge and the 3 copies of A Hero Lives. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like if I wanted to, I could easily just drop these copies of A Hero Lives and a mass charge for the 2nd poly and the 2 fusion recoveries in the form change, but still, yeah. I just like the fact that this makes the deck so much more consistent. Don't get me wrong, though. It's just preference, really. I mean, I preferred the fusion recovery build more, to be honest, just because you'd actually could sustain a grind game, but but turn 1 Dark Claw is just so good that you need to be able to get to it. And, yeah. And for the traps, the triple Call of the Haunted helps combo off between Blazeman and Shadow Mist. Okay, there we go. Now for the 2 ofs, this is where things are going to be changing up quite a lot. 2 copies of Rivalry of Warlords. I put these in the main deck after taking them out of the side deck. Realistically, it's just like you need to be able to floodgate your opponents under Dark Law. And yeah, this card is phenomenal, by the way, in this deck. Next up, 2 copies of Memory Loss. I also put this in the main deck to help combat Cosmo and Monarchs. I mean, this card is obviously just a great card versus Monarchs because it hits their cards that can't be targeted. This thing snipes Dark Destroyer super hard and puts it in defense mode. You can then run it over next turn. I mean, if you have this, if you open Dark Law plus this against Cosmo and they try to Dark Destroyer you, you win. Well, actually, I wouldn't say win, but you're going to be putting yourself far ahead of them because that Dark Destroyer won't float, obviously, because it's just going to get banished, but that's here nor there. And 2 time space Trapple. I'm still going to be running 2 time space as long as I'm playing Rafflesia, just because having that extra trap hole target is just so good. And for the one-of traps, we got the Bottomless, they're our third target for Rafflesia. The Torrential for those overextenders. The Solemn Warning for those pesky pendulum summons. And lastly, Vanity's Emptiness for when you go second against Burning Abyss, basically. That's pretty much all this is in there for. So yeah, that is the main deck. Lots of changes. And overall, I'd say things are pretty good. And like the deck is performing very well. I mean, obviously there are times where I do lose from paying Half-Life turn 1 under a hero lives. I mean, it just gets so easy to game someone when your opponent just starts with 4,000 as opposed to 8,000. I mean, Cosmo can literally just poke with Farm Girl and that's game. But yeah, chances are though, every time I'm up against Cosmo, I side out those copies of the hero lives immediately because those things will screw you over more than they will help you. Dark Law's not good against Cosmo, and paying Half-Life is terrible against them. But yeah, on to the extra deck. First off, we got the copy of Masked Hero Anki. He pushes for damage and is your Heartland Draco for the deck. We got the E-Hero Nova Master, by far the best fusion monster to go for to fusion summon. One copy of Acid. As you see, I took out Shining just because I don't want to play Shining with just one Neos Alias, really. Yeah, and obviously because Shining is just not good without BLS either. If I'm not going to put BLS back in, I'm not going to keep playing Shining. He's just not that great because of the way this deck is playing now. It's mostly just centering around getting you to your Masked Heroes. But you still have the option to go into Nova Master and the Ab-Zero. And Ab-Zero I will never drop just because of the fact that Mermail are a deck apparently. And this card, Ab-Zero, this guy shafts them super hard. Almost as hard as Darklaw does, just because, yeah, they killed Darklaw. Oh shit! Now we have to get over this thing, and this thing it gets bigger than all their monsters. And if it dies, it just nukes their field. I mean, don't get me wrong, like Mermail can out it with stuff like Dweller, but that's not very easy to do. Yeah, so Mermail has struggled to out Ab-Zero, so yeah, that's why I play him. The one Koga for the Neos Alias, and lastly the 2 copies of Darklaw. Obviously the main monster you go into with your mash changes. I mean, occasionally you go into Anki turn 1, but normally you always go into Darklaw turn 1. Normally you go into Anki when you're going second, really. That's how I like to do it, really. Just if there's a big monster that doesn't really threaten you, that Darklaw can't really get over sometimes, yeah, you can just attack over it with Anki and then either form change it into these 2 or mash change it into this. So yeah, there's that. And that does it for the fusions. For the Exceeds, we are running Dark Rebellion Exceed Dragon. This guy is actually pretty hilarious. But he's he's for sitting on Rivalry of Warlords. We got the one copy of number 39 Utopia. He is just for Rivalry of Warlords. I mean, don't get me wrong, Utopia the Lightning is coming out soon, but I find him worth running just because he kind of shafts Cosmo a little bit. He can control the battle phase. And considering how Cosmo are pretty much caveman Yu-Gi-Oh!, this guy is very good at just keeping them at bay just for attacking. I mean, obviously, Dark Destroyer makes him very sad, but yeah, that's just something you have to take into account. One copy of Karen Gorgon, just because he got reprinted in Winged Raiders and I pulled him, pretty much. That's the only reason why I'm playing him. Ragna Zero, Excalibur, Castel, Anti-Mermail, and Rafflesia. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say this is a pretty solid XC lineup. Obviously, when Giant Hand comes out, this Karen Gorgon might go for Giant Hand. I'm probably going to pick up a 101 now that it got also reprinted in Wing Raiders as a super, and it's super cheap now, which I like. Good job, Konami. Not sure what I'd take out for the 101. Because I just love everything in here. I mean, Dark Rebellion is questionable, but Dark Rebellion is just good for pushing for damage. But I'm kind of torn, really. There's too many options now. But yeah, this is staple. This is staple. This is staple. This is staple. So yeah, and well, this is just a tech choice, really, for sitting on Rivalry. So yeah, but as you can tell, like I'm a little bit hot pressed for space, even though it's not because the extra deck is tight, really. It's just because there's way too many options, really. But at least, hey, it's better than when I had Ptolemaeus and I didn't have room. excuse me. Didn't have room for anything. Yeah. Oh well. It kind of sucked that I don't have Infinity, but yeah. And for the side deck, this actually hasn't changed from my last video. You'll see. 3 copies of MST. Still not Twin Twisters. Twin Twisters aren't very good in Heroes just because, you know, you don't have discard fodder. God damn it, Mirror. Why did I have to open you? Now you glare. Oh well. That's going to bother me all day, just to let you know. Now you guys can... yeah, that's a nice reflection. Yeah. The 2 Kaiser Coliseum. I mean, technically I have 3 copies now, considering I have that Japanese copy, but I like to keep a TCG for regionals. So yeah. The 2 Kaiser. 3 copies of Mind Crush for the Monarch matchup. This card is just great against Monarchs because not only do they search, they also do reveal. So if they activate Tenacity, you have 2 cards you can instantly snipe with Mind Crush right there. And obviously, if you have Dark Law, you're going to be taking 2 cards if you flip the Mind Crush. So yeah. And speaking of Monarchs, you got the 3 copies of Mask of Restrict. I got my rest of my playset in. Thank God. Next up, the 3 copies of Imperial Ironwall, or as I like to say, the card that used to be good against Cosmo because now Tin Can is a thing. Probably gonna have to replace these with System Downs just because that card is just infinitely better now. Just because sniping the monsters from their graveyard is much bigger than keeping their shit from being banished. It's really Ironwall only. Because now, Ironwall only stops their pilots from banishing themselves to summon their ships. Just killing their ships isn't really that relevant now, just because you need to... What's more important is that you actually stop them from summoning the ships. So yeah, I mean, that's how you want to beat them with Heroes, at least. You have to stop them from getting to their big monsters, otherwise you can't win, because you can't kill their big monsters. And yeah, but for the last card, we got the Chaos Chapel for Monarchs. I mean... Now that Pepe got hit and Joker's limited, this card's not quite as good now. Because, you know, you hit kind of like their best normal summon in the deck. Don't get me wrong, like, Denko is still a thing. And considering how new Pepe, well, actually, the new Dark Draco Pals, they play things like Armageddon Knight. Like, you could technically use Chaos Trapple on that, too. So it's not quite as dead, but I still think it's much, much better against Monarchs, or Cosmo, for that fact, than it is against Pepe. Or, why do I keep saying Pepe? I'm sorry. Than whatever Pepe turned into, I guess. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Lots of twists and turns. And it's overall, I'd say I'm very happy with the way this turned out. I mean, if Vermihal are still going to be a really good deck, don't get me wrong, I'm going to have a fucking field day with those guys, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be making a lot more changes for regionals. I'm probably going to be adding Magic Drains to the main deck around the time I go to regionals just to stop Twin Twisters, because that card really fucks this deck over. Twin Twisters makes playing back row decks so difficult now. But yeah, and I'm going to try and, of course, find more floodgates to put in here, just because no playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For my opponent means more winning for me. But yeah, so that's the deck profile, guys. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.